And I also hope that you had an amazing day. All right, so today we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson, and our grade 3 English lesson will be on multiple meaning words. So grade 3 lesson will be on multiple meaning words. And before we start with our actual lesson, we are going to, you will go to the aplusstudents.ca. So once you've gone to aplusstudents.ca, and then you're going to log in with your username as well as your password, right? So we are by aplusstudents.ca, and we log in with our username as well as our password. So once we've logged in with our username as well as our password, we are going to select the subject of language arts, right? And then grade 3. All right. So once we've selected the subject of language arts, grade 3, now we're going to scroll down to the chapter of multiple meaning words. So we are on the chapters, and then we're going to multiple meaning words. So under the chapter of multiple meaning words, the lessons that we are going to be focusing on today is multiple meaning words with pictures. So we will be given different pictures, and then you're going to identify the different pictures and how it relates to one another, as well as the meanings of it, which definition matches the sentence, and which sentence matches the definition. So that will be our focus lessons for today. All right, so let's go to the first lesson, which is multiple meaning words with pictures. All right, so multiple meaning words with pictures, right? It says that some words have more than one meaning. So some words have more than one meaning. For example, the light hurts my eyes, right? So the word light, right, is being highlighted. So for now, I'm just going to underline light also. And then feathers are very light, right? So if you look at both of these sentences, right, which is the light hurts my eyes as well as feathers are very light, these are two words that sounds the same, right? However, the meanings are different, right? Because the first sentence that says the light hurts my eyes, that is of course to do with either switching on and off of the light, electric light, the lamp or something, right? So that is basically hurting the person's eyes. And then the feathers are very light, that is basically to do with weight, right? Which means it's either a feather of a bird, and when you pick up a feather of a bird, then you actually see how light it is, right? So which means that a feather is not heavy, right? But it is very light. So that is to do with weight, right? So basically, some words have more than one meaning, right? And like I say, light and light, spelled the same, sounds the same, but the meanings are different, right? All right. Then also, sometimes the different meanings even sound different, right? So as much as you'll find most words, right, that are spelled the same and sound the same, but the meanings are different, you also find words that are spelled the same, but the sounds are different, right? So the sounds are different. For example, like look at this word. I'm going to read the two sentences and then also see how it rhymes basically with whatever other word, right? So the actors leaned over and took a bow, right? Which is BOW, right? So BOW, that is bow. And then the girl tied a bow in her hair, right? So these are two words that are it's spelled the same, but the sound is totally different, right? So which means that the first sentence that is bow, right? This sentence bow or the word bow, it rhymes with how, right? So basically that is how the word sounds, right? So it rhymes with how. So that is how you basically say the word bow sounds like how, right? And then the word with the sentence that said the girl tied a bow in her hair, right? So this word BOW, right? It is bow, and bow rhymes with low, right? So as you can see, we do not these two words does not even sound the same, right? However, it is spelled the same, and of course, the meanings are different. And that is why we call it multiple meaning words, right? It's either where the words are spelled the same, sounds the same, but the meanings are different, right? So it's either where the word are spelled the same, but sounds different, however, the meanings are different, right? And with like the girl tied a bow to her hair or in her hair, we can't say she ties a bow, right? Because the bow does not sound the same, right? It doesn't even make sense. So it is a bow, right? It is a bow. And once again, these are words, especially bow and bow. These are words that sound that are spelled the same, but they sound differently, right? And of course, the meaning is different, right? So bow is of course where when actors are they have performed a show and the show was a success, and after the show everybody comes to the front and they're about to greet or thank the audience, and that is when they take a bow, right? That is the first meaning of the word, or the first meaning of the word bow. And then bow is a cute little ribbon that they tie to the girl's hair, right? That is a bow. So words with more than one meaning are called multiple meaning words, or we call it homographs, right? So words with more than one meaning are called multiple meaning words. And when we say words with more than one meaning, then it means that, like, for example, bow and bow, that is spelled the same, but the meanings are different. For example, light and light, that is spelled the same, even sounds the same, but the meanings are different, which means that that specific word, right, has got different or multiple meanings to it, right? So, as much as the meanings are different, but the word is the same, or let's say the spelling of the word is basically the same. All right. Okay, so now if we look at this the two pictures in front of us, right? Remember this lesson is multiple meaning words with pictures. So if we look at the pictures here in front of us, the first picture we have a ball, and then the second picture it is people dancing basically. Um it is people dancing. So the word that fits the picture, we can then say it is a ball, right? Because the first picture, it is a ball, but it is a ball that they specifically use for sport, right? Either baseball, I assume, right? And then the second picture, right, is where the adults are going to a ball, right? Where you dress up in your beautiful ball gown and your suit and tie, and you about to dance, do waltz and different forms of dances, right? So which means that the word that correctly fits the picture, we can say it is bowl. right? So the word bowl fits both pictures because bowl has more than one meaning, right? And once again, this bowl, the picture that you see in front of you, it is used in many different sports. And the second picture where you see the people, that is a ball. That ball is a fancy party with dancing. And like I say, ladies, they dress up in their beautiful ball gowns. And the gentlemen, they dress up in their suits and ties, right? So that is a ball. All right, so now if we look at the next picture, right? All right, so this is two hands, right? And they are shaking hands, right? And then we also have a that looks like a milkshake, right? So basically, if that is a milkshake, they're shaking hands, then it means that if we were to choose a word that fits both picture, then we can say shake, right? Because there are that is also shake, but shake hands, and this is also a shake, but this is milk shake, right? So these are two different meanings, even the two different pictures that shows the different meanings. However, it is one word. For example, shake, right? Spelled the same, and it even sounds the same, right? So the word shake, it fits both pictures, right? And shake has more than one meaning. And we said that the first shake is where we are shaking hands, either where you're meeting someone for the first time or you are just meeting someone and you're basically greeting, right? So now we are shaking hands. And then the other shake is a drink, right? Where we either say it's a milkshake or a kind of drink that is usually made with ice cream. All right, so type the word that fits both pictures, right? They are specifically showing to this child's eyes, right? And the little dots is showing to the birds, right? Which means that he is either looking to the birds, right? And then the next picture, right, is it's a tool that they use to either cut the tree or to sew something, right? So this is a saw, right? So if we need to fit one specific word to both pictures and the second picture is saw, then it means that the first picture, the fact that the boy is looking at the birds, we can then say that he saw the birds sitting in the tree, right? So saw, it's like he's looking towards it or he sees it, right? So saw is a word that fits both pictures, right? Saw, S-A-W. So saw, right? It fits both pictures, right? And so if we now look at both meanings of these words, right, then so it fits both pictures, but it has different meanings to it, right? So in this case, the words are spelled the same and the words are also, it also sounds the same, but the meanings are different, right? And so is past for see. It's like I mentioned that he sees the birds sitting in the tree, right? He saw the birds sitting in the tree. And then saw, it is a tool for cutting wood, right? Saw that is used to cut wood or to cut the tree or to cut branches or so on, right? So these are but a few words that we call multiple meaning words, right? It is where the spelling is the same, like the words are spelled the same, but the meaning are different. Then you have words that are spelled the same, it even sounds the same, however, the meanings are different. And that is why we call it multiple meaning words, because you'll have a word that has different meanings to it, right? And there we made examples of light, we made example of bow and bow, that is spelled the same. Saw, bowl, right? And shake, right? So these are but a few words where the word is spelled the same or sounds the same, however, the meanings are different, right? Because once again, these are words that has different meanings to it, and that is why we call it multiple meaning words. And another word for multiple meaning words is homographs, right? All right, so that is basically multiple meaning words with pictures, right? Where we had to identify a specific word that fits both pictures. So now we are going to test ourselves, right, on multiple meaning words with pictures. So we're going to begin our test. All right, so you need to type the word that fits both pictures, right? So the first word that we see, or let's say the first picture that we see, is firstly we need to choose between fan or goal. So fan or goal. So the first picture, right? It's a little instrument or thing that blows cool air, and then we have a girl that is supporting her favorite team, right? So which means that this is in a fan. So if you said a fan, then well done, because this is a fan. So good job, right? It is not a goal. So that is a fan. All right. So now by looking at both of the pictures, right, we have two, like an animal, right, or an insect, and it's in the sky, or it's just it's something that it does, right? So we either say fly or we say parrot, right? So in this case, the parrot flies, or this is a fly that flies, right? Which means that the word that we are going to choose is fly. So well done to those that chose fly. So good job. All right, we need to choose between cold or winter. So cold or winter, that best fits both pictures, right? Person has got a scarf on, it is snowing, they're shivering, and then someone that's not feeling well, right? They have a fever. So is that cold or is that winter? All right, so that is cold, and that is correct. So it is a cold. So well done. All right, and then we have row or boating. We need to choose between row or boating. It is a man that is in his little boat, and then we have um, seats, and they're showing us the different rows that you need to walk down when you are either in cinema or in a specific place where you need to watch a show. So is it row or boating? So type the word that best fits both pictures, right? So which means that we are going to choose row, because the guy over there, he is rowing his boat, right? And the picture that we see on the right, it is the different rows either of that you need to walk down when you go to cinema, or you're about to watch a show at a theater, right? So row. So if you have that, then well done, well done. All right, so now we're going back, right? And now we're going to go to the next one that says, which definition matches the sentence? So, which definition matches the sentence? Sorry. All right. What does rock mean in this sentence? So, we need to basically say what rock means in this sentence, right? My baby brother likes it when you rock with him. right? So they have two different meanings of the word rock. So rock is a noun, which is a stone, right? So that is the first meaning of the word rock. And then we have a verb, right? Which is to move back and forth, right? So that is the first meaning of the word rock. So in this case, my baby brother likes it when you rock him to sleep, right? That means it is the verb, right? It is where we have to move back and forth, right? With this little baby, usually to put him to sleep, right? So that is the first meaning of the word rock, right? Then a duck uses a duck uses its bill. A duck uses its bill for gathering food in the water. So a duck uses its bill for gathering food in the water, right? So the two meanings or the different meanings of this word bill, right? So the first meaning of the word bill, it is a noun, right? It is a noun and it says how much you need to pay. Meaning if you go to either a restaurant and then you are given a bill, right? And that bill tells you that this is the amount that you need to pay for literally the things that you ate, right? Or the things that you bought, right? So that is a bill. And in the second bill, it is also a noun, but it means the hard part of a duck's mouth, right? So now we need to say which bill fits the sentence. A duck uses its bill for gathering food in the water, right? So if we were to choose the correct meaning that goes with the word bill, then we will say it is this bill, the second bill, that is the hard part of a duck's mouth. So a duck uses the hard part of his mouth to gather food in the water. Right? So, once again, these are multiple meaning words. One word with different meanings. Right? And we did boom. Yes. All right. So, now before we go on to our test, let us go over here. Right? Okay, so multiple meaning words, right? Multiple meaning words, it's words that has the same spelling, usually sound the same, but the meanings are different, right? And we also made examples. We made an example of bull, we made an example of soul, we made an example of bull, right? And there are also but a few other words like fan, fly, cold, and row, right? Then we also have examples like wave and wave, right? Is like the first wave can be the waves of the ocean or the beach, and another meaning of wave can be where you are greeting, you're lifting your arm and you're greeting and waving to someone from a distance, right? And then we have ring and ring, right? So ring has also multiple meanings, right? Where it can either mean a ring that you wear on your finger that you give to someone either for engagement, for marriage, for friendship, right? Um, And then we also have another ring, which is like the telephone rings. Somebody's about to call you, so your phone rings, right? So that is ring, the meaning of those two words. So now, if we also look at the picture over here that has that shows the words and it shows the different meanings, right? There we have slide, right? So slide, and then we have two different pictures that represents or shows the different meanings of slides, right? Same with ring and the two different meanings to a ring. Here we have a diamond ring and a telephone ring. Duck, right? We have a little duck whether it is an actual duck or a duck that we usually buy when we or use when we are in the bath playing with the duck, usually the kids. And then another duck is where a ball is almost about to hit you and you're moving sideways in order for the ball not to hit you. Then we have bow and bow, right? Base and base, and bat, right? So that is but a few also of the multiple meaning words where we have one specific word and it's got different meanings to it, right? One word, different meanings to it. And then also, if we look at this picture before we go on to our test on our tutorial, right? Here we also have a few pictures with different words or one word, different meanings, like fly, scale, right? Bat, ring, palm, right? The palm of our hand, and a palm tree. Wave, the example that I made earlier. Ruler, right, is our king or a ruler that we use to rule lines. Chest, this is the chest on our body or like a treasure chest, right? There we have a bat and we said scales. So once again, one word, different meanings, and we call that multiple meaning words. All right, so now we're going to do a test, or we're going to do the test which definition that matches the specific sentence. All right, so what does train mean in the sentence? Laura will train her dog Astro not to beg for food. So there's two different meanings of train, right? The first one is a verb, it's to teach to do something. And then we have a noun, which is a line of railroad cars on a track pulled by an engine. And that is basically a form of transport. So we need to choose the correct option. So is it either option one, which is train verb to teach to do something, or train, which is a noun, a line of railroad cars on a track pulled by an engine, right? And once again, the sentence is Laura will train her dog Astro not to beg for food. So we need to match the correct definition with the sentence. All right, so if we were to match the correct definition with the sentence, right? Laura training her dog, then it is training, which is the verb, right? It is an action. It is teaching her dog to do something, right? So if you said train, which is the verb, then well done. That is correct. What does close mean in the sentence, right? So close. I always close my window before I go to bed. I always close my window before I go to bed. So close, which is a verb to shut something like a door or a box, or close, which is an adjective which is not far, right? So the second one shows distance. So we need to choose the correct definition. So close, which is the verb to shut something like a door or a box, or close, which is the adjective not far away. I always close my window before I go to bed. We need to choose the correct definition that matches the sentence close my window before I go to bed. All right, so if we were to choose the correct definition that matches the sentence closing the window, then we will then basically choose the first one, which is a verb, right? It is to shut something. So we are shutting either a door or we're shutting a box or we're shutting the or closing the windows, right? So if you have that, then well done. What does the school mean in this sentence, right? What does school mean in the sentence? Brit and Quan have the same teacher at school. Is it school, which is a noun, a group of fish swimming together, like a school of fish? Or is it school, which is also a noun and it is a place for learning? Brett and Quan have the same teacher at school. We need to choose the correct meaning of the word school. Is it a school of fish, which is a group of fish swimming together? Or is it a place for learning? All right, so if we were to choose the correct meaning that matches the sentence, right? They have the same teacher at school, then we can say school, which is the second one. Yes, it is a place of learning. So well done. Well done. All right. So far we have matched the meanings with the different pictures as well as stated which definition matches the correct sentences. So now we are going on to which sentences matches the definition, right? So this is basically just like a it's a mixed type of thing, right? We first had to identify the definition that matches the sentence, and now we're going to match a sentence that matches the definition, right? And once again, just to recap on the meanings of multiple meaning words, we have some words that have more than one meaning, right? And sometimes different meanings even sound different, which means that multiple meaning words, it is spelled the same, sometimes it sounds the same, however it has got more than one meaning, right? So we will have a word with more than one meaning, and we call this multiple meaning words, or we also call it homographs, right? And that is basically our actual lesson for today, which is multiple meaning words. All right, so now we are going to match the sentence with the correct definition, right? Which sentence uses the meaning of spell? Spell is a group of magic words. So the definition of spell is a group of magic words, right? Um in the story, the queen uses a spell to change into a mermaid, right? So that is basically what the first basically the definition of that sentence is, right? So spell, which is a group of magic words in order for, if we think of a cartoon character or then we can, or character within a story, and then we can maybe think of Cinderella, right? That where they use certain spell words and then it basically turned her into a beautiful princess, right? Up until she had a certain time before she turned or changed back into being, let's say, the maid, right? So that is what spell means, right? It's a group of magic words. So we have the word spell, and spell has multiple or different meanings, right? And yes, you can also basically combine it, if you can put it like that. When we say combine it, then it means that the spelling is the same. This, it also sounds the same. For example, like if we look at spell, but the meanings are different, right? Or you will just find a word that just spells the same, like the spelling is the same, but it doesn't sound the same, right? So you can combine it, right? Where you'll find a word that has the same spelling, it is also sounding the same, but the meanings are different, right? And if we look at the different words, or let's say the different meanings of the word spell, and then we will also get an idea of the multiple meaning words, right? All right, so over here it says the word spell has more than one meaning. right? So the question asks for this meaning. So spell, it is a group of magic words, right? And we made an example of Cinderella. So if we know the story of Cinderella and how she changed from a maid with rags to a beautiful princess, right? And that was all because of the spell magic words, right? So now we need to decide which sentences uses that meaning, right? We need to first look at the first answer choice. Please spell the word kangaroo. Yeah, it says spell means to say or to write letters of a word in the right order. So the question did not ask for this meaning, right? So which means that this spell that we are talking about, where they're saying, please spell the word kangaroo. It is, for example, you are maybe the best definition would be you being in class and your teacher asking you to spell certain words, right? So spell a word that starts with a B for ball. So spell ball, right? And then we have, of course, the word spell, which is a group of magic words, right? And the magic words is used to change something into something different. So that is the two different meanings of the word spell. The one is where we are spelling words or letters, and the other word spell is a group of magic words. All right. Which sentence uses this meaning of wind, right? So wind, it is a noun and it is the air that is moving, right? So wind, it is a noun and it shows the air that is moving. If we look at the sentence that is given, the firefighters were afraid that the high wind would spread the fire. So this is basically a correct sentence, right? Because wind, which is the air that is moving, right? It is basically showing or indicating to the weather, right? So which means that if they are relating the firefighters that has to basically stop a specific fire from spreading, the wind usually worsens it because the more the wind blows, the more the fire will spread, right? And now, if we scroll down and we are now going to go to the different meanings of wind, also, it says wind has more than one meaning, right? And we need to basically choose the correct sentence that matches wind, which is a noun, that is the air that is moving, right? So, air that is moving, which I mentioned, it is to do also with the weather, right? And then we made an example of the firefighters were afraid of the high wind, that the high wind would spread the fire, right? So the high wind spreading the fire, right? That is to do with the air that is moving. And remember we said that the more the wind blows, the more the fire will spread, right? And then we have another meaning of the word wind, right? I will wind Ginger's leash around a post so she doesn't run away, right? So this word wind, it means to wrap something like string or rope around something else, right? So to wind the leash, it is basically to wrap something like string or rope around something else, right? If you are taking your doggy or you're taking your pet on a nice walk, and before you either go into a store, you are wrapping the leash of the or the string, you're wrapping it either around a pole or somewhere in order for him not to run away. So if we were to choose the correct sentence that matches the definition, then we are definitely going with the firefighters were afraid the high wind would spread the fire, because that is the noun that shows the air that is moving. And remember, that wind shows like weather, right? The wind is blowing on a winter's day, for example. All right, and then we have the last one, which is which sentence uses the meaning of pet, right? Pet, it is a noun, an animal that you take care of, right? So pet. So Lisa has a cat, sorry, for a pet, but Oscar has a rat, right? So in this case, the correct sentence that matches the meaning is definitely a specific pet that you have at home, right? That is an animal that you're taking care of. And then we also have another word, pet, is where you're either rubbing or petting a dog, you are tending to a specific animal, right? But in this case, a pet, it is an animal that you take care of. And usually we say it is something, it's an animal that you have at home. You're taking care of that specific animal. All right. So that is the different sentences that matches the definition. And remember, we have multiple meaning words. It is where we have a specific word, but we can have different meanings. Sometimes you'll have two different meanings, or it can be three meanings. It depends on the specific word, right? But in order for you to match either a definition to a sentence or a sentence to a picture, we need to also know what it means. So now we're going to do a test, and we're going to test ourselves on which sentences matches the definitions. All right, so which sentence uses the meaning of row, right? So we need to match the sentence, right? Choose the correct sentence that matches the definition. So row, it is a noun and it's a line of people or things. So row, a noun, a line of people or things, right? So the two sentences, right, that we need to choose of, we need to choose one of that. It says, the first one says, Abby couldn't take her eyes off the row of cookies in the case. And the second one says, I can row the canoe across the pond. So it is row, a noun, a line of people or things. We need to choose the correct one. Either option one, which is Abby couldn't take her eyes off the row of cookies in the case, or the second option, which is I can row the canoe across the pond. All right, so we will choose option one, right? In option one, it is a row, which is a noun, a line of people or things. And over here, it is a line of things, right? So option one, and that is correct, right? Then wind, right? A noun, which is the air that is moving. And we said it is to do with the weather. The firefighters were afraid that the high wind would spread the fire, which is option one. Or option two, I will wind Ginger's leash around a post so she doesn't run away. Decide to wrap either the leash or a rope around a pole in order for either a dog or a pet to run away. And the first option, it is to do also with the weather. So the firefighters were afraid that the high wind would spread the fire. A wind, which is a noun that shows the air that is moving. All right, so we are going to choose the first option, which is correct. And then top, which is a noun, a child's toy that spins. A child's toy that spins. I can't believe we made it to the top of the mountain. Or David spun the colorful top across the table. So we need to choose the correct option that matches the definition, which is top, a child's toy that spins. All right, so we are going to choose option two, which is David spun the colorful top across the table. So well done, well done. So that is us matching the sentences with the correct definition. So that is now the end of our lesson on multiple meaning words. And we said multiple meaning words, it's where you'll have either a specific word that spells the same, right? But the meanings are different. Or you'll have a word that sounds the same, or let's say spelled and sounds the same, but the meanings are different, right? Some of the words, it doesn't have to sound the same, but it does spell the same. However, the meanings are different, right? Because you will have one specific word with different meanings, and that is why we call it multiple meaning words. And another word for multiple meaning words, we call it homographs, right? So that is now the end of our lesson on multiple meaning words. Thank you very much for joining our class. Thank you very much for being interactive. You should have an amazing evening further. Goodbye.